Thank you. My social media setup is so behind the times.
Um,
Are you receiving anything from me?
Mark, can you say something?
Testing, one, two,
Oh,
three.
perfect. Okay, I hear you. Awesome.
And we have people.
Yep. All right.
Uh,
All right. Let me get a clear up some stuff in my browser window here, and then I'll share it out. Oh,
wow.
that's cool.
How did you do that? That's
If you share the Hangout, then it gets kind of cool. But all right. So we want. Uh, so if I'm sharing my entire screen, let me change that.
That's cool.
Let's. I'm going to. I'm going to pull my Hangout into a different window. That seems like a smarter thing. And then share my other browser window. There we go. All right. So I got Chris who's hopped in. Chris, anything in particular that you wanted to go over, talk about, look at? Got some PRs or anything out there that you wanted to take a look at, or? Okay. Um, I've missed the last few of these things. Have we changed?
not that I've noticed.
Oh, there Chris is. There we go.
Hey, sorry, I was moving to an office. Um, I had a couple here. One not by me, but I commented on. A while ago, I actually got the test working again for this plugin. Yeah, this knife plugin, and here, I guess is trying to actually fix the tests. I had one small mention that we had a duplicated rake gem. Um, and testing the specs locally, but I'm not the best with RSpec, so make some more eyes.
Okay.
Does kind of look like just like some RoboCop. Is
Yeah. And you said you've run the test locally?
yeah.
No. Okay. It's a knife open stack. I'll just change it here.
Matt Ray would be another good one.
No labels here. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so this looks fine except for, like I think you pointed out the
That extra rake. Yeah.
rake. Is that an extra rake? Oh, yeah, there we go. Dependency, yeah,
Yeah, it's in the gem spec.
the gem spec. Yeah, the R spec. I mean, I don't really know I don't know the code, right?
Yeah.
But the R spec looks fine. Like the R spec all makes sense, right? So dropping connection double, that was doing nothing. You have to trust him that like instance server needs to receive associated addresses for some reason. Or it no longer receives associated address, and that was the problem. And then there's just a bunch of stubbing here. It looks like there's a lot of holy crap, there's a lot of collaboration. Like when your tests get that long, it's like screaming out at you that you like need to refactor or something.
Which components are you speaking of?
Right. Like so the one that he added a bunch to, the set OpenStack floating IP on OpenStack floating IP option spec test. Like it's just wrong, and there's lots of collaboration, and there's lots of stubbing network, stubbing instance server, expectations on instance service connection. So, I mean, you can look at that and you can say that like your objects need to be broken up, need to have less collaboration, or like the spec test needs to reduce its scope or something, but at the same time, like I think it's probably just because the code is really overly complicated. So if all he's doing is fixing the test so it works with existing code, then it looks good. Probably just indicating that the underlying code is kind of complicated.
Yeah, that might be something to take a look at.
Yeah. And we have lots and lots of overly complicated spec tests inside of Chef itself.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we've got an Ojai one. Oh,
This is something that I kind of just want a little more direction where I'm headed. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with RSpec testing, so I've been trying to kind of find pull requests that I can help with to get better with. And the one that I came across was this VMware one, and I started to write some tests. The problem that I would get is the way that he is grabbing all these values is he basically loops through and assigns them all to a hash, I believe. And every time I tried to run my RSpec test, I would get the first one, but then it would continue on to grab the other ones. So I'm trying to figure out how I can just kind of make RSpec stop. I don't know if it would help if I kind of pushed up to my local branch what I have, and then maybe Lamont could take a look at
yeah,
that.
if there's something that we can pull up, take a look at.
Yeah, I mean, probably you don't want to do that, though. You really want to set up the whole thing and then verify the whole thing, right?
So would I want something kind of like a giant mock of what this would do, and then...
Yeah, and I think you want to turn the crank just once, and then you can split up your expectations, right?
Mhm.
So you can have, it sets host time correctly, it sets speed correctly, it sets the session ID correctly, right? And you can break those up and only have a single expectation.
Mhm.
But you're probably going to want to set up a giant mock or whatever it is that you're doing here. Yeah. So you're going to get from command to param, VMware param, from command, stat param. Yeah, so it runs through each of those. From command is just shell out.
I'm pushing up what I have now, and then maybe take a look at what I've tried to do.
Yeah, so you're gonna just have to set up the stubs on shellout for all those things. So
Yeah, okay.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plus 10, 11. So you'll set up 11 stubs. You'll turn the crank once, and then you can go do your expectations on that. So you'll have one big before blocker or something that sets up all those expectations. Well, there's an example that does something like it someplace.
Yeah, an example would really be helpful if you have one. Just pushed up a really kind of rough outline of what I was trying to do.
Shows all that. Yeah. Looks like it. It's terrible.
What was terrible?
Oh, no, I wasn't looking at yours yet. I was looking at other spec tests that you should not look at.
Am I looking for more of an example that kind of shells out a lot and then calls?
Yeah, probably.
I couldn't find a lot of them in Ojai itself. I think the closest one that I saw was there was a pull request a while ago for Docker. I'm trying to find that one.
Okay.
That was the one.
Yeah. I think you can directly stub shell out.
I've got to run. Somebody else can take over presenting if they want. I'll be right back if I can.
Okay. Did. So yeah, so one thing is like so shell out is mixed into the plugin object itself, right? Because you can just call shell out.
Right.
So you should be able to do plugin stub shell out rather than doing what you were doing with a mixlib double. Stubbing shell out, return mixlib. Yeah.
You feel free to just comment right on the code if you find some.
I am in fact doing that right now.
Oh, great.
Plugin. Shell out. Okay. So that's probably how you want to be stubbing shell out. And then you stub it on the plugin object itself. And so then
Oh, okay.
um, yeah, wow, it's gonna be annoying. Actually, wait, so yeah. Okay, so stuff's going to be double, which responds to What is it? It's standout split. Functions. File separating and 0, yeah. So I made another comment there. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So since there's a helper function called run command, it actually makes more sense to split it up there. Test run command and make sure that it does the right stuff with handling shell out. And really, I think we use run command elsewhere, and probably that could get turned into like a library that gets included into a lot of stuff. Like gets turned into common shared examples or something like that. So once you've tested run command, then you can rely on that. So then you can just stub it. And why aren't we using stub? We shouldn't be using stub. We should be using
The allow syntax.
oh yeah, allow syntax. So yeah, replace that with allow syntax. Allow plugin to receive run command with whatever and return string.
Right.
So that means that you're just returning strings. You're not returning mixlib shellout and walk objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'll make life easier.
So now if I did like the allow run command blah to get this and return that, would I do that for each individual one of these?
So yeah, so you're probably going to want to do that in one big block.
I'm guessing similar to kind of how he does it with just the loop.
Yeah, that's what do you want? So stats first time. Indentation is slightly off, but okay. So made one more comment. So, like, I would make a function which set up all the stubs,
Right.
and so a naive way of doing that would be to just list them all like that. That's what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You could clean that up a bit, probably with like a loop, and then maybe putting the stuff that you return into like a hash so you can look that up, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And then sort of the way you'd structure it to do the tests is you have a before block which sets up all the stubs, and then you probably somewhere you call plugin get VM attributes path. I should have put that there. So it calls plugin get VM attributes path after setting up the stubs, and then go through and write its blocks for each individual check. You could do the whole thing all as one, but then like if any one of them fails, you don't see the rest of them and stuff like that. So it's better to have one expectation for a given thing, like assuming they're not somehow kind of correlated. Anyway. So hopefully that helps some.
No, that definitely helps. I was just getting confused because, like I said in my code before, I think I was trying to. I didn't really figure out how I was going to get all those things and then test each individual.
Yeah, like it's not written so that it runs them individually, so trying to test them individually is going to cause you pain.
Right.
Yeah, and sort of like also like, you know, the public interface for this is what you test, right? So when you're writing a unit test, you test the public interface for the objects. So the thing this object does is it issues all of those commands and then gives you back the data that it has collected.
Right.
And you know, you need to test that, which means you test that whole thing. You don't try and chop it up, right? You just test the public interface. So that means you need to go and stub everything because it always does everything. And then check and go through the public output that it produces.
Okay. That's definitely a lot that I can work on now.
Yeah, cool. Okay, that's awesome. Awesome you're taking it.
One other option that I thought of, and I didn't want to overstep as Lamont was going through there, but yeah, if you have a list like that of things that you're iterating over, you can wrap that in a function or in a reference to something, and then you could stub that out, and so you can kind of control what's getting fed into that function.
Stub, yeah.
You just add another level of indirection. So rather than having a hard-coded list in there, you have a function that's gonna return the values that you want to iterate over.
So you would create a method which was the array of like host speed, session ID, balloon swap. That could be a method that returns that array.
Yep.
Then you can sub that, and you can just have foo and bar.
Yep. And make sure it passes the parameters properly and
right.
And creates and then you still have to test the output. You know the different outputs of the various commands. You still have to do all that other stuff, but
yeah, that's true. That's probably a bigger hammer than what he needs here.
Right. For this case, it's probably more than what. But when you have something like that, and you have that hard coded value that you can't just work around, sometimes it makes sense to extract a method and then.
So that's like if you've got something that like wants to read Etsy password. What I like doing with that is extracting that into like a constant or a method, and then sort of dependency injecting something other than Etsy password. Inject a file. It's a temp file that it can read. And then you can test that thing reading that temp file instead of reading empty password, even though it's like a hard code. But yes, yeah. That's a bit more advanced, though.
Yeah.
That's that's getting into sort of I don't know advanced undergraduate level aspect.
Well, I mean that's one of the first refactorings. There's a really good book called Refactoring out there, and there's actually an edition now that targets Ruby.
No, but like if you're writing really good tests, writing really good code, totally do that.
Just something handy to keep in the toolbox as you're starting to learn these tests. If you're finding things that you can't get around, refactoring the code is always an option.
Yeah, that's why so the from command thing, right? So I started going down the road of like, well, you stub shell out, right? But it's like that's a pain in the ass, right? Particularly if you're doing it a ton of times. And so stubbing from commands, since you have that nice little method already in this object, is just going to make your life a lot easier. But then you have to make sure from command does the correct thing, right? Because you're not actually testing that code. You're stubbing it.
Yep, exactly.
Anyway, that was today's lesson in how to write RSpec.
Thank you for joining us on RSpec Hourly. The other one I had was here. This soft layer one that I seem to bring up every time. I think he rebased this and probably good for look.
Oh. Rebase on latest master, iterate on code review, okay. So he's commented out cigar, which I don't think is. Yeah. That should probably go away. That's what rescue exception.
Oh, I see the cigar thing. I think that's. I remember seeing that somewhere else. Something funky with that currently.
Cloud plugin depends on software. Software. So collect data if on software. So let's get software values. Get software values. Verify on software. So this doesn't really mess with software. It should have all of these. Let's get software values. Software. What does the software and metadata stuff actually get called? Oh, right, down here. Got it. Yeah, looks like software. Hit software. Collect data. Looks like software. Run software. I will do that. Refresh metadata software. Okay, this looks cool. So that looks all fine. Oh, right, but that was this. Yeah, so I still don't, the thing that I commented on before, I still don't like. Like, if the API serves back a 500, we should really fail.
Yeah, I agree.
So I made a couple of comments on that one.
Okay. Yeah. Though I'm sorry, kind of most of the commentaries falling back on you, Mount, but I think you have more familiarity with this part of the code or with this code base than I yet.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm sort of making it up as I go along.
Yeah.
But I do know, I just know, I do know how we sort of handle exceptions and stuff in OHA plugins.
Yeah.
Some of the background of what we talked about with OHA. But yeah, having it silently swallow 500, I'm pretty sure is wrong, even though I still don't think we did the right thing in Chef. But now the 500 will bubble up and then OHA will swallow it and not set any of those attributes, which is also terrible. But yeah, it feels like you're papering over one bug with another bug.
Yeah. There. Cool. All right. Well, anything else? We still have a few minutes left. I've got a hard break right at 3, so I'll have to tear the hangout down right then. But
I don't have anything.
That's where you're on. Is it Central?
oh yeah, I'm central. Yeah, so so I have a hard break at 1 Pacific. But
I know. I'd say we've gotten a good deal done. Let's just.
Yeah, I don't know that we can hit another one.
So.
cool.
The Chef pull requests are in reasonably good shape from Monday.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
Cool. We'll catch you guys all next time.
Thanks.